O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Excellent.
You by your Queen?
And Australia.
Thank you, Mike.
Classic. Oh, they're on cue. Just in time.
I was coming.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm gonna, the president is,
Are you getting wine?
Meal buffet.
so good to see you. Chicken all the time. Yeah. I like that, good to see you.
I'm going to ask Alan Ho to introduce Mr. Chen.
Hi, good evening, fellow Rotarian guests, ladies and gentlemen. Sitting next to me, Minister Michael Chan. Minister Chan was elected to the Ontario Legislature in February 2007 by-election and soon after joined the Ontario Cabinet as Minister of Revenue.
My career, excellent. Recently I was in a CARE program bridge training course, and this CARE program is a bridge training course for nurses, internationally educated nurses. They come to this training course, and then after that they will get a job as a registered nurse if they pass the license. And one of the graduates had some comment on English. She said, English is a language of heaven because it takes eternity to learn it. And actually, English, the beauty about English language is you do not have to go to heaven to learn it. So that's very good. Well, our town will be one of the municipalities that will benefit from a joint federal and provincial investment of $5.5 million under the Recreational Infrastructure Canada program in Ontario and Recreation Ontario. It's my hope and our Premier's vision that we continue to strengthen these vital public services. But the truth is, the economic reality are daunting. Today, we are losing jobs by the thousands. Manufacturers are suffering, retailers are suffering. That's why our government has to act, and act quickly, so that Ontario is not left behind. 85%, let me repeat, 85% of our trade at the moment is with the United States. 40 years ago, when I was here, someone told me 85% of our trade also with America. Now what happened in the last 40 years? You had countries like India, Brazil, Mexico, China, Russia, the Middle East. We talk about all these expanding economic new power, but our trade with America still 85%. We must reposition ourselves to do more business with all these other countries. We must go onto the bandwagon before we are left in the dust. And by way of diversification, we can revive faster and we emerge stronger. And in order to do this, Ontario and a number of our fellow provinces are moving to a modern and efficient single sales tax system. This new and reformed single sales tax system will take effect July 1st, 2010. With this reform, sales tax for certain items is going up, but personal income tax and business tax is going down. One may ask, what does this mean for me and my family? What does it mean for businesses? The real reason we are doing this is to make our province more attractive to business, to create jobs, thousands of jobs, to protect those important vital services I was telling you about, services like healthcare and education. It will help Ontario to emerge from this economic downturn stronger than ever. It's becoming clear to me that the things that for so long make Ontario the economic heartland of Canada can no longer be taken for granted. our manufacturing sector, it was built on cheap oil, the low Canadian dollar, and geographical advantage. Those days are gone. Our tax system is no different. It's outdated, simply put. It's broken. If we were starting a tax system from scratch, we will not require our businesses to collect 2 different sales taxes. We will not require them to send their taxes to different governments and to comply with 2 different sets of rules. The simple fact of only having to pay 1 tax to government is that it is much more efficient. Businesses will save more than $500 million a year in paperwork. We would choose a modern, efficient, single value tax system that reduces business costs. The problem with our old tax system is not that we tax people for running their business. It is we are actually taxing them over and over again.
You know, a couple things I want to understand. If it's about $8 billion in year 1, that they figure is the net cost of implementing the change, is that strictly from the tax change itself and combining the 2 taxes? Or is that also including, you're talking about, I think it was an 18% reduction in the small business tax rate, is that right? And what about individual tax rates? Is there somewhere where that information is published now where you can...
You mean the income tax?
Yeah.
You would 93% of Ontario will get a permanent income tax cut. Anybody making below 80,000, the average income tax cut is 10%.
Okay. So do you know, is that loss in income tax revenue, is that a part of the $8 billion? Do you know?
Well, my understanding is, you know, the Fed would give 4.3 billion.
Yeah, and about
and then, you know, we will not be able to take it. We have to put back the whole thing, you know, of this tax reform. And on top of that, the first year, the Ontario government had to put in 3.some billion in order to make this whole thing happen.
Which would also include, you're talking about a rebate check.
Rebate checks and
The
income tax cut and all
and all
that.
of that.
Yeah.
Adds a value, not to your business, it sets you back. But the other thing is that in the UK, since this recession really bit them hard, they knocked 2.5% off their value-added tax. Would you consider doing that? I'm just pointing out what's been happening.
2% would be heavy, to my understanding.
I'm only pointing out to you what's been happening in other countries. Other countries have had their problems as well, and that's the way the UK has tried to get over it.
I would say every country operates their jurisdiction quite differently. I don't know how England, whether they had a universal healthcare system, education system. Okay, I was the revenue minister. I don't actually go outside and like you collecting tax. I can tell you, 43% of our total budget spent on healthcare. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, 43%. When you add up the health and education, is 60% of our total budget go to 2 items. So the public health, the universal health system, really causing a lot of tax dollars, and we have to maintain that. So I just cannot compare like in China or London, England or Brazil. You know, it's all different because the social structure of the country is all different. And
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you, and I know we have something in common. We both came to Canada in September of 1969.
Wow.
I came in September the 11th, so we're both celebrating our 40th anniversary. Wow. So I just want
That's
to say
something,
that's
2 days apart,
2 days apart.
Wow.
But you've given us a lot of information, and we're going to take it back. I know there are a lot of questions. Questions that have been answered and questions that are unable to be answered, and I know you're going to follow up with that. And I want to say thank you on behalf of all of us, the Markham-Unionville Rotary Club. It's a pleasure, and we're looking forward to hearing from you again. So thank you very much.